Hey guys, January 2016 Class Wars Finals just ended not that long ago, so of course it's time for a toon overview. So I'll show everything before reset so that we can all see where my stats are at as I won Class Wars for the second time, which was really big. I have been in a terribly good mood for the past, well, a little longer than 15 minutes. I found out, that I definitely won a little over 15 minutes ago, and it was just, a really big win. It was really, unexpected. It's, again, I always tell you guys I'm always trying. It's just usually I fail miserably in some fashion. I screw something up, and just this time around, it just went really, really well. And so I am, at the moment, not very high BR because I dropped my kid for Class Wars. I decided to bring this Sylph, my Goddess of Prosperity, so I went with a Wind Sylph. This is the one I have set up as a main. I didn't end up changing this skill, but I probably should have because I was really trying to avoid using it. But I just basically use these four. And then the Rage passives, and then this one, which is pretty good. Which is it increases your attack rate as you get hit. So you get a lot of hits from Class Wars, whether it's the troops or from the players and whatnot. So those can stack up pretty easily and help your crit rate. So you're hitting bigger hits and everything like that. So I like that one. And then this one I changed over all my nice Divinity Souls. So at the moment, this is the first Sylph that I put Advanced Mahra into in a while. I did cap out Venus a while back, but that was more in preparation for Odin because I don't really use Venus that much. Of course, I say that, but I used her for Class Wars last month. But it's not a usual Sylph for me. It's something I would do mostly just to avoid people's resistances. But here, Goddess Prosperity is just a really, really great PvP Sylph. Definitely, as I was using her throughout Class Wars, I see the appeal and why Rhea is so fond of this Sylph. But yeah, so I had a nice time with that, with the gear and everything, up to 185k BR. But that said, she's not the Sylph that is my highest BR setup or the one that I use very often. So I'm going to switch over this gear, move all the Divinity Souls so I can show you guys my main setup. Alright, so switch things over to my main setup. My BR is a little bit higher if I switch to Venus. Venus has a little bit more BR than my Freya, but this is what I usually do because I usually leave my decent set of magical attack gear in my Freya in case I need to use her for something. So I just leave it with that setup. I imagine that this would be like 5.9 million or something like that with Venus, or something close to that, just a bit more BR. But yeah, we can start with the Sylph since that was the big thing this month. This is my Freya, got all the gear and whatever, so she's at 223k BR. Everything in intelligence, and so yeah, I mean this was the big help in Class Wars, in Titan War. So I mean, as much as I hate to admit it, I have no regrets in not making Freya instead of making Odin. That's number one thing, and then also just admittedly how OP these things are. And so when I didn't have a merge Sylph, I found every excuse to criticize them, and all of those criticisms I think those are still valid, but I do see how OP they are, and that doesn't necessarily make me terribly happy, but it does at least not make me feel super sad about the purchase either. And then the only thing that was, just going awry with this Sylph throughout Class Wars, but in prelims it definitely seemed worse, but I definitely noticed it in finals as well, is that this shield is just really fussy. Sometimes it'll cover just my toon, it won't protect the whole team, including the troops and the kid and whatever, and then other times it will be fine and it will cover everybody. So it's just very fussy. Asher was saying that once he made a Frigga, that didn't happen, that it worked all the time, but I was just watching his fight, and his Frigga was misbehaving as well. So I don't think it has to do with whether it's Freya or Frigga. I think it's just messed up. So, it is a great skill. It is helpful to a certain extent, the way that that this other skill, what's that? This Ice Shield is, but I mean, I guess it's still better than Ice Shield because it does potentially cover all of the team, but it's just a little bit fussy and misbehaves a bit. Otherwise, so for once, I'm not going to talk about my Holy Forge because that's not looking that different than last month. So just all the defense items are capped out and or very close to capped out, and that's not, I mean, really big news because I was very close to that last month. But the big improvements have been in these types of stats, into the intellect in particular. I'm up to 31k intellect. That's huge. And so the big places where I gained that were the tattoos. So this is my expert tattoo. We did a whole video on that, and so yeah, that's very, very nice. Some really huge gains there, and so that was, I mean, that alone was like close to 20k magical attack after bonuses and everything. And the other place where I gained a lot of magical attack was my mount intellect. And so the current max level is 1245. I completely maxed that out. There's a mount training whip event going on right now, and I just used it up. I put everything in there. Everything else, I mean, I have hundreds of levels to go, in particular like the defense and endurance. Sure, would I like those? I wouldn't say no, but I don't really have the whips to do it. And I think at this point, other than capping out the intellect over here, I'm much more interested. I mean, I'll use the defense to, like, you know, do 1,000 whips each time for each day for the events, but otherwise, I think I'm going to be going after this Nirvana Phoenix now. And this is a magic mount, and so each one of these, the base increase for each level is +5 to each of these stats, and then the bonus from all the stars that I've refined on these mounts is +12. So I just get huge bonuses from these magic mounts, and so this is a really great place for me to get big stats. And here, you know, I won't get as much intellect per whip, I think, than doing the regular training. So here, I think that's still a better push. So I will go after that intellect, and also that, you know, regular training has an event. The problem about this one is that I have no event for it, and so I don't get any whips in return. I don't get the 50% return on using the whips here. But even so, even after all of that, I think that this mount is worthwhile. So right here, you know, it costs 10,000 experience now. This maintains like the same amount each time now. So at the lower levels, I think up until close to like level 20 or something like that, it was yeah, I think it was much less than this, and then gradually increased it until you need 10,000 experience, and now it stayed that way, and it'll stay that way until, I think somebody said the cap level was 180 or something crazy like that. So it's about 800 or so mount whips in order to get one level, and so this is something I've worked on for the first time. Literally just today I did this, so this is a very recent upgrade. I got it to level 40. I had I think 30,000 whips or so. So I've been saving those up. Before I was really just either, you know, getting close or capping out my intellect on the mount over here. And then I get a ton of mount whips from TOK Nightmare, so that's been really good. But yeah, so that's been very nice. Got the little mount from Class Wars. It's been a while since I've had that, or I've had it briefly, but not for very long. But I've been struggling in Class Wars lately, and all of a sudden this month, I mean, it's very unexpected. But I mean, I'm always trying. It's just very unexpected. So what else can we look over? So battle protection, just to go over what I did for Class Wars. So I didn't start out with this setup. So here it's all stacked in light, dark, and electro fire. And so basically what happened is I started out this way. So I started out with a lot of wind resistance. So like this. Ooh, why did I put so much light in? So it was closer. No, that was right. No, it was like this. I forgot. I have 2 dark dimensions and only 1 light dimension, so I put in an extra light crystal. Okay, so this is what my resistances look like at the beginning of Class Wars, and so I basically mostly did not pay attention to water resistance, because nobody, even if they brought a water Sylph as a main, I don't think it would have played that well. The magic, the MDef stats are absurd. You know, a lot of people pushing Intellect like I am, and the MDef goes up with it, and it's just crazy. You know, if I adjusted my gems even a little bit, my MDef would be soaring and would be higher than my magical attack. And then I put, you know, some into fire and electro resistances, but I don't have any dimensions for them. So I did my dimensions a little bit differently than what I usually do, which, I mean, so I stacked up 2 expert wind dimensions, and I was talking to Robin, and I was like, should I just do 3? You know, maybe it'll just give me that extra push against Ray. And, you know, she reminded me that the return on resistances is so low as you go up. So I decided, okay, two of them is going to be enough, and then I did light and dark to protect against Odin. And then for the 5th one, I didn't really care. It could have been anything. It's just I decided to go with dark because I had a lot of them. It was mostly to bump up my reduce res, but it as far as like actual resistance against anybody, I don't know if it had really a huge impact. And so I switched it over time. My resistances were as I first showed them after I had fought Ray, and so once I fought Ray, I knew I could take away some wind resistance, because I didn't think anybody else, you know, big like Chili, or, well, I had already fought Solara and Asher, and some of the other folks. So I knew that I was either going to be facing Odin or facing Thor against Chili, and so with that in mind, I decided to put in more fire, electro, light, and dark. So yeah, that's how it went, and it worked out really well, and I was really glad I had that extra dark and light resistance in when I was fighting Chili, because his Odin was hitting really, really hard when I had it the way that I had it, you know, stacked up more. So yeah, that went really, really well. Let's see here, no changes to clothing because they refused to give me an event for level 11 clothing, so I'm just sort of sitting around on level 10s. Let's see here. Oh, HP is looking really big. I didn't get a good chance to really look over my stats, because it was very close to Class Wars. I was rushing to finish my last dimension, and I was like, you know what, I should really throw those mount whips in, and so I just, like, chucked all my mount whips into my mount, and then into the magic mount and all of that stuff, so I was, like, blowing up my BR right before Class Wars. I didn't even get a good look at what my stats look like these days. But with Hecaon especially, my PDEF is feeling relatively good. I mean, my MDEF is so much higher, but, you know, there's nothing I can really do about that as a mage. What else? So we went over Sylphs. So yeah, 2 bananas on my wind now. Got Money Honey. I don't know if I'm gonna keep that name, but I just decided to color Money Honey for some obvious reasons. Venus and Nutella. Let's see here. Astrals. I capped out these 2. I don't know how recent this is, but I did cap out this one I've had for a while, the one on the Refined Goddess Blessing, so an added 10% bonus, and then on Determination I did get that. I think it might have been this month. And then Illusion, I mean, I would like it, but it's really, really expensive to do these, so these 2 are the main ones that I want, and then after that I'm not totally sure. For the kids, I mean, nothing outrageous there. I did start building up this Frost Panther a little bit just because I was really curious. So I put a bunch of stuff on him to test it, and then I forgot to take it out and put it back on my other kids. But so far, not really that thrilled. You know, if you use him, you sort of want him to be in the front tanking, which is not useful for Class Wars, because then where am I supposed to put all the Sylph troops? So I'm not totally sure about that. Anyway, I was giving it a try, and it didn't work out that well. Otherwise, just really use the Oracle for the most part, and then the Wind Ranger for all of the PvE stuff. What else? Mount. I mean, nothing too crazy, you guys. That's a lie. This month has been totally crazy. I mean, it feels just so nuts. It is a total wonder to me. I told everybody who said it, who was like, oh, you're on your way to get another Class Wars win. I was like, you know, making a Freya, making my first Merge Sylph is not, like, gonna be, you know, make another, like, 2 merge cells maybe, which is not in the cards for me right now, but it was really, really surprising. It was, yeah. I mean, every single one of the Sylphs that I brought into that team was orange, so I didn't have a single red Sylph in there. I didn't use either of my red Sylphs, and none of my Sylphs are in the top 100 anymore, and that's just a huge part of the game these days. So I'm very glad that the big stats, the mount stats and the tattoo stats are really helping me out. So the big attack, oh, I forgot to mention will crystals. I'm at 11, 10, 10. You know, I've fallen behind Chili and Ray in this respect. I think Chili and Ray are both at 11, 11, 10, but I just haven't been able to make it to even 11, 11, 9, just because I haven't been buying as many will crystals from Wild Shop because I don't have as many bound Balins anymore. So anyway, I thought about recharging after winning Class Wars because I was in such a good mood, but anyway, I haven't done that yet. This recharge rebate is really interesting, but really convoluted, and like they just make it as confusing as possible, so you probably like accidentally recharge something stupid. But basically I think it's just like you recharge one day, and however much you recharge up to, you get all of these. And then, you know, so on and so forth. If you charge 20k the first day and only 10k the next day, then you're only going to get up to this point. I don't know what happens if you do like 20k the first day, 10k the second day, and then the third day you go back up to 20k if you get if you only like get this uncommon chest or something and then don't get this rare chest. I don't know. But anyway, this is a completely new recharge system. I was talking to some people trying to figure out what on earth was going on. It is listed in the forum, all the stuff that's in this chest. It's a lot of advanced tattoo stuff, or yeah, like the advanced henna for the tattoos. Those are a really, really big deal. You know, I did show a post on the blog and on Facebook about how you need it's upwards of like a total of 12,000 stats from your tattoos. So you basically need like 2 big attack ones, like 2 big intelligence ones, or for the knights and the archers you need 2 big what's it called, strength ones, and then you need a really big endurance one and a really big defense one. So it's and by really big I mean like upwards of 4,000. So it's crazy what you're going to need in order to class advance at this point. And so yeah, so they're pushing those materials a lot on people in the recharge events because they're going to be putting out the new patch or rolling out the new patch very soon for all of us. And so that's going to be interesting. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to do the new dungeon you know, within the next month or so. Probably longer than that because I don't know if anybody else on my server is going to go ahead and do that class advancement. Otherwise, you guys, I don't know if there's anything too big. I mean, there's the bags, nothing too crazy in there. Getting close to another tenacity level, that's like a total pain in the butt. Getting the tenacity is a real pain. I was really worried about it. That's the other thing, is that the other players like Chili and Ray all have like really close or are already at level 20 tenacity. So yeah, anyway, PvP wise that's been a little bit rough. Definitely could feel it in Titan War a lot too. But otherwise, just farm materials. I have 16,000 cows. I was saving up all these cows in like gold because I thought that we were gonna get like a new dungeon that I could do very soon and get some new gear upgrades that it would cost a lot of gold for enchantments and things. And then I looked at the requirements for getting this new class advance and I was like, okay, well forget it, because you know, I'm not even remotely close to being able to do that. I decided to keep some of my higher level clothing in my bags just because, I don't know, the mailbox sometimes makes me nervous. Otherwise, dims. Some of these were 1 Balin in one of the Christmas offerings, so that was sort of nice to be able to just extend some of my dimensions if I remember to. But yeah, there it is, you guys. Sorcerer finally again. So it's been a few months now. It didn't take 26 months like it did the first time to win, but this is a real treat, to say the least. So thanks for watching, you guys. Take care and have a very good day.